All right, major developments again tonight on the deep state spying on the Trump campaign. James Clapper, Barack Obama's former director of national intelligence, is actually today saying it was a good thing that the Trump campaign had a spy for the FBI in their campaign during an election. I can't believe it. Watch it.
They may have had someone who was talking to them in the campaign. But, you know, the focus here, and as it was with the intelligence community, is not on the campaign per se, but what the Russians were doing to try to instantiate themselves in the campaign or to influence or leverage it. So if there was someone that was observing that sort of thing, well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, where was the spy in the Hillary campaign where she did pay for Russian lies? Clapper's so pompous, so arrogant, this is so illegal, he's actually bragging about surveilling an opposition party during a presidential election year. If that's the case, this is not America. We don't have a constitution. This is something you'd expect from the former Soviet Union, Venezuela. Then again, you got Clapper's buddy, John Brennan, who's also up to his eyeballs in this scandal, probably knows a lot about it since, remember, he's the guy that voted for a communist for president. Last night, we had the great one, Mark Levin, reacting to all of this. His analysis, dead spot on. Take a look.
We have a cabal of FBI agents who took it upon themselves to investigate a candidate and his campaign. And then we have, of course, actual spies, one or more, in the Trump campaign. What the hell is this? The Soviet Union? Venezuela? It's the United States of America. I want to know what Brennan did. I want to know what Clapper did. I want to know what Comey did. Not because I'm going to punish them. You'll make determinations about this.
Susan Rice.
But something is terribly wrong. We need to fix this. We cannot have another election where the federal government, our United States government, is interfering with an election.
The great one's right. We've been right. Everyone on this program has been right. We need to fix it because this is about the Constitution of the United States, and it's literally hanging in the balance at this hour. You have unelected deep state actors shredding our Fourth Amendment rights, your right to privacy, protection against unreasonable search and seizure. This is, as I've been telling you, one of the darkest chapters in American history. The Trump campaign is targeted because people like Clapper, Brennan, Comey, and others, they think that they knew better than you did, the American people, about who should be the president. They've weaponized the powerful tools of intelligence, turned it on us, and they are now politicizing differences, political differences. And by the way, Clapper, since you're so concerned about Russian influence in the election, did you have a spy in the Clinton campaign? Now, we know for a fact her campaign was colluding, had a foreign agent, Christopher Steele, paying for Russian lies and propaganda to lie to the American people. And Clinton and the DNC, remember, they paid over, what, $12 million for the Russian dossier full of Russian lies. Where's the FBI? Where's the CIA? Where are the spies? Of course, there weren't any. Instead of investigating it, well, they used former spy Christopher Steele, who they fired as a trusted source, and they used false, completely unverified, never corroborated, a dossier he put together to get a warrant and then spy on the Trump campaign, never tell the judges she paid for it, and in the process, lying to FISA court judges on 4 separate occasions, never revealing Hillary paid for all this. This is the biggest abuse of power, corruption scandal we have seen in the history of this country. Talk about Watergate. This is Watergate on steroids and human growth hormone. Watergate, what, a third-rate break-in that eventually forced a president to resign? You may remember this.
To continue to fight through the months ahead for my personal vindication would almost totally absorb the time and attention of both the President and the Congress in a period when our entire focus should be on the great issues of peace abroad and prosperity without inflation at home. Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
What is playing out right now is nothing compared to Watergate. Spying on an opposition party during an election, it makes Watergate look like stealing a candy bar from a candy store. Now, here's why. Now, the details of this abuse of power are so far worse. The New York Times now confirming this week everything we have been telling you. Now, the Times didn't all of a sudden decide, oh, we want to tell people the truth. This is about actively now assisting the deep state. And what the Times is doing is they're helping these bad actors get in front of this scandal because they know it's all coming out. So they're twisting and spinning the facts and crafting their own narrative. Now, to steal a page from the FBI's playbook, well, they now know Crossfire Hurricane is coming. Now, here's why. The deep state is about to be exposed. It's all happening. Now, a portion of the DOJ IG report is set to come out now in a couple of weeks. Congress, well, they'll eventually get the documents that led up to the IG report. We'll see it all. The DOJ is now slowly leaking this information to friendly news outlets like the Washington Post and New York Times. Here's the thing. What they're now reporting is now corroborating everything we have been uncovering. Let's run through the details, starting with this quote. The FBI obtained phone records, other documents using national security letters, a secret type of subpoena, officials said, and at least one government informant, i.e. spy, met several times with Mr. Page and Mr. Papadopoulos and current and former officials saying. That confirms the FBI had a spy, an informant that infiltrated the Trump campaign. Where's the warrant? And in addition to lying to the 4 FISA judges 4 times to get the FISA warrant to spy on the Trump campaign, the FBI is using secret spies? Was there another secret subpoena? Now, it sounds like the deep state was using every single option available to go after the Trump campaign. And by the way, after they, of course, rigged the Hillary investigation. Here's another significant quote that matches our reporting. Days after they closed their investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, agents began scrutinizing the campaign of her Republican rival. Now, the Times adds that both these investigations were made up of a small group of the same top officials. So the same officials that rigged the Clinton email investigation, even though we know she broke laws and obstructed justice, well, then they went after Donald Trump and set their sights on him. Now, next. Now, is this shocking part that directly implicates here John Kerry and Barack Obama? Nobody's picked up on this. Top Australian officials broke with diplomatic protocol, allowed the ambassador, Alexander Downer, to sit for an FBI interview to describe his meeting with campaign advisor George Papadopoulos. All right, diplomatic protocol broken. That means John Kerry, from the get-go, this is the beginning. The Obama State Department, and I'm sure the president, that means Obama, all involved. That means they knew about the spying from the start. And as we have been saying for months, John Kerry, Barack Obama need to answer 2 simple questions. What did you both know, and when did you both know it? Now, there are other disturbing details in this. Now, these deep state sources revealed to the New York Times that 4 Trump campaign associates were being investigated by the FBI. It wasn't just Carter Page and George Papadopoulos, whoever he is. The FBI was also going after General Michael Flynn and Paul Manafort from the get-go. This was a major intelligence operation. And finally, these unnamed sources also tried to spin the Peter Strzok, Lisa Page text messages, what they were talking about, who we now think is Andrew McCabe, about their so-called insurance policy in case the unthinkable happened and Donald Trump won. They're actually claiming now, quote, they said that anything the FBI did publicly would only give fodder to Mr. Trump's campaign's claims that the election was rigged. Now, Mr. Strzok countered that even if Mr. Trump's chances of victory were low, like dying before you're 40, the stakes are too high to justify inaction. Well, that's laughable, and it proves our point. The deep state, these top players, not rank and file, desperately trying to spin all of this damning, all of this incriminating evidence. Now, another new breaking story to tell you about tonight. Anonymous government sources have been repeatedly leaking to the media details about the FBI informant who did spy on the Trump campaign. And at the same time, they're accusing the president, Republicans, even people like me, of putting this informant's life in danger. I've known the guy's name for the full week. Here's the latest example from the Washington Post. Bigger than Watergate, Trump joins push by allies to expose the role of an FBI source. They are falsely smearing not only the president and congressional Republicans and yours truly. No, we're trying to conduct an investigation. Congress is. They have constitutional oversight authority. They're supposed to do this. In the process, Washington Post, as biased as they are, is revealing key details about who the person is. For example, quote, the source is a U.S. citizen and has provided information over the years to both the FBI and the CIA, as the Post previously reported, and aided the Russia investigation both before and after Mueller's appointment in May of 2017, according to people familiar with his activities. Okay, on the face of this, it's ridiculous. And for the record, the person's name has been out there in the media. I've known it for over a week. And by the way, it's not some closely held state secret. What is withholding now or unfolding before our eyes is utter insanity and the total hypocrisy on display for the cold country to see. You got the DOJ, FBI are accusing the president, Republicans, people like me of endangering a source. At the same time, anonymous law enforcement, intel officials, they're the ones leaking the details about who the informant is. That is what we call a deliberative smear. Now, here's point number 2. This is really important. These unnamed federal officials have leaked more information to the New York Times and Washington Post than they've given to Congress, because they're trying to get a friendly audience. And remember, Rod Rosenstein has been slow-walking, obstructing, stonewalling every congressional attempt to do their constitutional authority of oversight every chance he gets. And when Rosenstein does actually comply, well, he turned over what? Heavily redacted information and the claims of national security. Well, we've seen that's just a lie. It's not true. Look at these leaks about the FBI informant. You know what? Would they really be doing all of this if it was a national security threat? This is about getting out in front of Congress, in front of the IG, in front of what they know is coming. They're trying to control the narrative, slowly bleed it out. Has nothing to do with national security, just like Rosenstein redacting the fact that James Comey didn't think that General Flynn lied to the FBI. Neither did anyone else in the FBI. That had nothing to do with national security. That was a CYA and Rosenstein protecting his corrupt friends. He and Jeff Sessions, they either need to go